Islamic banking over other financial banks?
Well, you see, one has to see that what are the advantages that you are getting by introducing Islamic banking as opposed to the existing commercial banking modes of financing. The biggest thing is it's interest-free, and I think that itself can be an incentive for introducing Islamic banking in Uganda, and particularly because, as I had mentioned, that most of the economies of the OIC countries and in Uganda itself are based on SMEs. And if we are talking about SMEs, then we are talking about not big industrial units, but small and medium enterprises. And it's a known fact. It's nothing that we are stating other than the fact that we have seen the experiences around the world that Islamic banking is a very lucrative, I won't say lucrative, but it's an easy mode of financing for the SMEs because of its main component, which is interest-free banking. And it is where the lender and the borrower are both part and parcel of the project. So it is a profit and a loss for both.
How are you going to make profits if this is a business free? How are you going to sustain your business when it comes to banking, Islamic banking? Because it's interest free.
You see, that this is something which you have to adapt to, that, you know, there are certain principles of Islamic financing that you have to accept. And I don't believe that, you know, Islamic banking is you're unable to sustain, because Islamic banking is being practiced in about 53 of the 57 Islamic countries. And there is a question, or there is an element of the profit coming in, because if it was not profit oriented, it won't be around. You know, and the very fact that everybody is taking to the Islamic financing, the very fact that David Cameron, the Prime Minister of Britain, has also talked about introducing Islamic financing in Great Britain. So I don't believe that it's something which will not render the profit. You will get your profit, but the mechanism is different.
Can you explain the mechanism,
The mechanism is it's interest-free, because when you go to the commercial banking, their lending is about 14%, or it varies from country to country. Sometimes it is 14%. For example, in Uganda, I'm told that if it is banking through the US, on the basis of the US dollar, the percentage is different. If you go on lending on the Ugandan shilling, the profit, the rate of interest is different. I'm talking about the rate of interest. So then your markup is so high that what will the small and medium enterprise do? Because the markup is so high, he'll barely be able to make, will be able to sustain the project. So where in Islamic banking, your profit and your loss is going together. If you're not making a profit, you may be making a loss, but that loss is compensated over a period of time. How is it compensated? Because your rate of interest is not there. You get my point? Because in other commercial lending, your rate of interest is very high. But in Islamic banking, there is no rate of interest. So you compensate with that. Have you got my... Yeah.
Okay, another thing about the principles of Islamic banking, if it's introduced in Uganda, what are some of the things we are going to follow when it comes, let me say, tropical banking? It's going to adapt to Islamic banking. What are some of the principles I have to follow so that I suit in this category?
This is something which we are looking into, because we are trying to introduce training programs. There are certain components, certain guidelines that you need to follow in terms of Islamic banking. And if you had heard the speech of the presentation of the representative of Islamic Development Bank, he clearly gave the guidelines that what are the basic principle of Islamic banking is that it is interest-free. Secondly, there are certain commodities or certain projects for which this Islamic banking can be introduced, which is according to the principles of Islam, or as they would say, it is Sharia compliant. So we will be conducting training programs. We've got a roadmap that this seminar, what is the roadmap for onwards for this seminar? We worked that out with the Honorable Minister and in collaboration with the Islamic Development Bank and the Uganda National Chamber. We will have a roadmap that we will be conducting training programs once it has been passed by the Parliament. That is one of the prerequisites right now. that we call upon the private sector, as the Honourable Minister had said, the private sector of Uganda to impress upon their parliamentarians that they need this bill passed. Once the bill is passed, we will be conducting training programs where we will sensitize the banks and at the same time bring in the line of credits. So from there onwards, hopefully, we'll be able to succeed in our objectives. Thank you.